What is going on? Happy Friday, happy Friday, happy Friday, crypto enthusiasts. Hopefully, you guys are having a great start to your end of your week. To be quite honest, some of the moves that we took yesterday are actually paying off to fruition. Now, the question being is, are we going to see continuation to the upside? That's what I'm going to be divulging into today. If you're part of the free Discord server that we have, I've posted all the setups today inside of there. I'll be walking you guys through that as far as essentially what I'm looking at. I am looking at lower time frame, seeing if we do get a breakdown or if we're going to see that impulse up to the upside. That being said, let's dive right into these charts so we can kind of get a gander at this right now. Now, really, I'm looking to see if this level starts to break off. The higher time frame viewpoint is really going to be based off of this. You know, looking at this inverse head and shoulders, this is the idea that we were basing everything off of. Don't mind the fib levels. These fib levels are from lower time frames, just seeing if we do see some type of breakdown, what that would look like. So let's go ahead and remove that off of the hours and days, so we get a better view of this. This is essentially what I posted inside of the server, right? This neckline right over here, if we start bouncing off this neckline, which essentially we just did here on this 4-hour session, then we're going to see some upthrust. This level right over here, 2177, I believe that is, excuse me, 2217. That should act as a point of fuel for us to move higher to the upside. Now, saying, what if you're wrong? What if it decides to come back down to the lower levels? That's where I was looking at here on this 3 minute, saying, okay, well, if we topped out here inside of this zone, then I'm looking at this level right over here being retested, which is right around about 1958. If I look at a 4-hour session, just flipping back and forth, in order to change this setup phase, we are printing a 3 here at this level. In order to change that setup phase, we do need to climb back down to said levels, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, which would be right around here, 1952, which actually kind of plays into this wave 3 idea that I have brewing right now. Looking at some of the extension levels to the downside, and those extension levels would be right over here, 3.618, if this were to come to fruition. So that's really what we're working with right now. CPI came out today, not much move, didn't really move the needle too much for us. I did have some add backs to my longs. I had posted this also inside of the war room, inside of our server, that I was going to be looking for add backs. Now I'll continue to look for more add backs, even if we get down to that 1956 level. I'm going to be looking for continuation in those areas. What's going on? Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. We're jumping right into it this morning. Yeah, it's probably is expired. I'll put a fresh link for you guys inside the chat here for you. So that way you guys have it. I'll pin it to the top. It's right there for you guys. Yeah, I probably had to update something on that as far as the permissions for that link. So when I set up the broadcast, the link is already there. It's already ready, but I believe it's I had it like on an expiration time frame. I think I had it for just that day, just for that stream. All right, so this is what we're looking at right now, right? Like if you're looking at shorts and potential shorts, you know, I don't disagree with you. I'm not saying no. I did hedge a short for myself. I did already take profits on that. I did look for a new entry here at these areas, seeing if it's going to maintain these extension levels, or excuse me, expansion levels. Right, you got 2057, it went all the way up to that 1.41 area. So seeing if that's going to maintain itself. Obviously it's now breaking through that. So let's I actually need to get Bitfinex here on my chart. I need my phone. Actually, no, I'm already logged in. Okay, that's good. Nice. Good pump. Good pump. This is what we're looking for. Now we just want to see continuation with this. You know, like I said, if you held those positions yesterday, then you're good. You're good. You're sitting in profits right now, just letting it ride. We're waiting for confirmation on this wave, on this neckline, right? We have a lot of time. We have 3.5 hours left inside of this session for it to kind of pan out for us. Right, because this could always do a reverse Uno card on us and come all the way down to these, 1950 areas right over here and then bounce back up. So then essentially we're looking at a whipsaw if that were the case. But this is a confirmation candle for me. So if we can maintain this neckline and we can continue to go here, then I'm expecting the higher levels to come to fruition. If you're going to be scalping shorts, which I did on a couple plays, it's in and out, in and out. Once you see that drop, get down to like a 3-minute time frame. Oh, there we go. 3-minute time frame. You see these little drops. Once you start seeing it recovering, get out of it. Get out of it. That's if you are scalping. So this just is not done yet. And these, when we have moves like these, guys, like when you start seeing up thrusts like this and you're like, hey, how come this is not taking a break? How come it's not breaking down? Especially if you're looking at lower time frames. We got to remember, we are utilizing this as a potential wave 2 here in this area. 1 and then 2, this being that wave 2. Still inside of that confirmation. It could always come back down, could even sink down a little bit lower. So that's why we have to throw caution to the wind when we're working with these levels. We did print a 9 here on a 34 minutes. The lead up phase is showing a 1 though, so that's actually kind of good. We have no dots that printed here on the lower time frames. 4 hour, still relatively looking strong. It looks like that party is just beginning, to be quite honest. If you're looking at it from a DMI perspective, DI positive is above the baseline. We have the ADX that's pushing up right underneath it, so that push up into that DI positive will make price action continue to go up. You may see some low time frames moves to the downside, but just going back to it, when you start seeing these up thrusts and you have your wave 2, what comes next is wave 3. Wave 3 is your most impulsive wave. It's going to give you the most love, for lack of better terminology. So scalping, scalping shorts, yes, I get it, but that's not something that's going to be long term. You're better off looking for those dips to come back down and then look for that long, or at least add back to your longs. Like I said, I've already added back to my longs earlier inside the server. I was essentially looking at this neckline right over here, right at this level. Actually, I was a little bit lower than that. Right on this candle, I was a little bit of a bunny. I was jumping ahead, but I did have an add back here on this candle, which paid out to be well for us. So right now my average is sitting somewhere around like 1970s inside those areas, and I have a break even in the sense of if we do revisit that area and get down to 1956, then I'll look for the relong at 1956. That's if this 4 hour does do that. The next 4 hour session, let's say it's later on in the day, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, then that kind of puts us a little bit lower. That puts us like 1930s inside of that area, so we'd have to see a big push. But like I was saying before, it looks like this party is just beginning here, just based on trend from a DMI perspective. Cypher wave as well. We have our green dots. We don't have any red dots that are printing just yet. It is Friday, so Fridays are not always like huge volume days. We could get some of those anomalies, and that's what we're going to be playing off of right now. How's everybody doing this morning? Everybody have a good week? Everybody have a good week? Start to your week. I need to set some stuff up for us real quick. ETH looks good in my opinion. ETH looks good. I mean, we have a shelf that sits all the way around 2284. If you're looking on TapeSurf, we have a nice shelf that sits inside that area. I'll open that up for you guys so you guys see what I'm looking at. You should get over to it. Right, we can see we have this shelf that sits right over here, 2284, 2290 inside that area. You know, and that kind of speaks to what I was saying about earlier on our chart when I was looking at this viewpoint where I had this arrow right over here. There's a liquidity pocket that sits right here inside the zone. So that's going to act as fuel for us to move higher to get to those levels. But like I said, right now we just manage and I'll go from there. As you guys know, if you have any questions for me, you know, any confusion about any of this stuff, always feel free to drop it inside the chat. More than happy to assist you guys. Yeah, a lot of people are expecting more down. I don't disregard with that. You know, we were looking at yesterday. We were looking at 1839. Even myself, I had a challenge set up for 1839. But as you guys saw yesterday inside the stream, you know, we were tapping right into that 618 level, and obviously it held. It held. So now we're in that confirmation level. Now we just got to go with the flow, right? Go with the flow. If you missed an entry at 618 because you were expecting lower, what have you, then you're going to wait for those lower levels to be tapped into. Extremely bullish, in my opinion, would be tapping into New York Open High, which is 1989.40. Maintaining 1972.67 ultimately would still be bullish. If this current candle decides to say, hey, you know what, we're gonna puke all over late longs, then 1956 is the area. So you have 1989, 1972, and 1956, all good years, right? Those are the levels that we're going to be looking at for bullish retest for those levels to maintain. So if you're not in any position, you kind of missed some of this pump, those are the levels that I'd be looking for. Extreme bullish again would be, you know, not even going to those levels and coming straight back to this neckline and then pumping up from that area. Make some coffee. I haven't had my coffee yet here, guys, so let's get some coffee going. opinion, if we see late longs, I think the narrative right now for BTC, for ETH, those two coins specifically is, hunting for that CME gap. And that would be a blessing. That would be phenomenal if on a Friday we're able to clear that CME gap. That is being pretty optimistic, just being frank with you. But I think that's where a lot of people are starting to target before we see any more healthy retracement back down to the downside. We still do have lower targets for ETH and for BTC. I have BTC targeted somewhere around like 44K, 45K going into like September, October. And I have ETH targeting right around like 1100s, maybe even 900s in that same time frame before we find the bottom. But in the interim, I believe that we'll have some short-term relief that may last, maybe like 2 months, 3 months, something in that neighborhood. Then we'll start to see some breakdown, some sideways movement, and then we'll see another flush down to the downside. I could be off on those, so that's why I just play this level to level. In going to that same note, Mike, I don't think it was random per se. I think there has to be relief. There has to be some liquidity. You have a lot of bottom shorters here in these areas, scalpers, or maybe even intradays that see every single pump. They're like, yeah, we're going lower. And they just keep shorting that area. Well, that turns into liquidity at some point or another. Those moves only work for so long. And to be quite honest, bears have been in easy mode for the last 6 months. And you can see it here from the monthly. Just straight easy mode. We don't have a green dot that's printed on the monthly just yet. So again, we could still float around here in these areas, for the next month or so, and then we get our push up. But everything's been on easy mode for them. Let's go to 5-day real quick. I really don't need those here. And I don't need this here. Yeah, you see we tapped right into that 618 level for wave 2. It went from here to here. Lower time frames. That would be pretty aggressive. It just retraces this whole candle and comes all the way down. That'd be interesting to see. Is it possible? Yeah, because DMI, still has bearish strength, still has the momentum. We're inside of green dot territory, so I don't know if we're going to get the green dot here on this week. We have roughly another day and eight hours left inside this candle before we can actually get a green dot. So that's going to give us more stability to say, okay, yeah, these are the areas, these are the levels. This is the time where I want to start longing for that relief. Got a nice 9 that printed here. I wonder if that was a shaved bottom. No, it wasn't. Okay, so a couple pennies off. Okay. Nice up thrust. Man, that's relatively flat. You got a green dot here at the top. There might be a red dot coming here soon, especially with DI negative, so we'll get a small little push back down. Okay. I've opened up some hedge shorts right around 2064. 2064, I opened up some hedge shorts with very, very tight stop losses. Very, very tight stop losses. I'll actually post that inside the server so that way nobody freaks out like, hey, I didn't know. Get rid of this, don't need this right now. What did I say, 1956? Right there, that level. You know, and if it gets burned, it gets burned. I mean, we're still long. Like, that doesn't change. None of that changes. So if you're inside of the server, you'll see that what I'm referring to. If you're new to the server, or you know, at least new to this channel, curious as to where some of these setups are being placed, things of that nature, I will show you here now. It's all going to be right here inside this area. So every time you see me go live or stream, this is going to be the section of where you'll find it. You can watch the playback. You can see what the setups were inside of those areas, you know, what the day looked like for us. The setups I try to post an hour beforehand, kind of giving you guys, alluding to like what I'm looking at, what I'm thinking of. That's kind of what I did this morning. You know, we have the setup that was, the streaming link that was already put up there. These are the levels that I was looking at. And now you can see as far as where I just posted that short. So it's an easy way for you to guys to navigate through the channel, through the Discord, navigate through this challenge that we're running, a 1K to 10K challenge, and still be profitable. Even if you have to look back and go, what was Saint doing? Let me make sure that it lines up with my confluence. And maybe you fade it, right? Maybe you fade it. You know, you can use me as a signal, as a fade signal. You know, I take no insult to that. What's up, Danny? Good morning. Good morning. What's up, Sniper? What's up, Big Dog? Morning, brother. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Coffee's brewing. Be right back. Let's get back into managing this. I'm back, guys. Back. I'm looking on lower time frames. I'm just looking at this 3 minute. I do have a red dot that printed right here. So I'm looking to see if we get some short-term breakdowns inside these zones. You could run your stop loss even tighter if you really wanted to. Is this 64? No, 67. Excuse me. I'll go a couple pips above that. I'll go to like maybe like 10 pips or something like that. Just give it a little bit of breathing room. What's up, Shine? Good morning, brother. Hope you're doing well. God bless you. And if you guys that are inside of the server, and if you guys that are following the referral link, you guys already done your deposit and all that jazz, and you don't have VIP access inside the server, please shoot me a DM, so that way I can get you into that VIP status. There is supposed to be a form that you're supposed to complete that allows me to track the UID to the Discord server handle. That way I can just do it behind the scenes without you guys requesting. But sometimes, you know, folks, they'll just go straight into the link, they'll set up their account, what have you, and they don't have VIP access. So if you don't have that, please shoot me a DM. I'll make sure you get taken care of. So I really want to see this box get broken. I'd be giddy for that. And see another green dot. That's bullish divergence right there. They're probably going to have an exit squeeze here in a second. That's what I see brewing. Let's check out that 4 hour real quick. Looks good, looks good. Got a lot of time in this candle though, guys. A lot of time in this candle. Still got that 9 printing. Got 4 minutes left inside that current candle. You know, if you're trying to catch a Pico top, you know, that's really what you're operating from. You're operating from a 34-minute down to a 3-minute. And you got a nice little gap that sits right over here. I wonder if we have a shaved head that sits here. No, we don't. Okay, a couple pennies lower, so not a shaved bottom there. Actually, let's just throw this on real quick, so we can see if there's any that exists here. There was one there, but that got cleared. That got cleared. This is the only one that didn't get cleared, which subsequently kind of lines up with what I was saying earlier, the 1956 area. And we have another one right over here, which is like 1953 to 1946. Was this cleared? Yeah, that was cleared with this wick right here. So we have 1, and we have 2 inside this area. Kind of map something out like this. That would be like the zone where we want to get to if we're shorting. Is that 1946? Yeah, 2077.16. Keeping it tight. Really want to see that red box acts as a point of sign of weakness for us. The top red box is a sign of weakness for us. When we start getting breakdowns, then I'd be targeting these lower levels. I think first TPs would probably come around here, because if we get a bounce off of this zone and then move back up, all right, because we have an impulse here. Yeah, you got a 5th wave from there. I'll just take this off real quick. Let's open this up. 1, 2, 1, 5, and make it 4. That's the 5th one right there. Okay, so you'll see an ABC to follow that. So my assumption would be, I don't know where A is going to go. I don't know where A is going to go. I'm just speculating here. Right, like A can just come down to here. Then we'll probably get like a B. They get a C. But if this A goes deeper, then C can go deeper. So I would anticipate maybe something like this area right over here. Then get like a round trip inside of this zone and come back down into these areas. It really all depends on, you know, where this stops. I was initially looking at it from here, right? These kind of candles, but then obviously we push past it, so an ABC gets invalidated from there. It's so crazy. Midweek when it's supposed to be a profitable day, just kind of relatively flat. Heavy patience, all about building. Then comes Friday, it pans out. Whether it's short-lived or not, point being is it panned out. Kind of same thing for BTC. USDT was really what I was focused on here. You know, I hit this level here. I mean, if I can get USDT just take a high down to these levels, boy oh boy, I'm telling you, everything's gonna pump, giga pump. But if USDT decides to come back up to these levels inside of these areas, you know, maybe retesting some of these zones, that's what's going to put us in those like 1940s, 1950s, 1970s areas for ETH. You know, it's getting ready to brew and print a green dot here in this area, but it's also showing some volatility on that. This is a 144, obviously. Let's go to daily for BTC. Nice candle. Nice, beautiful candle. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the level 7232 that it's going to try to test to change this setup phase. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see a candle that comes right up to that level, 7114 inside that area, fail to break that area or at least reclaim that area, and then you get a breakdown. Now, mind you, this is on a daily going into tomorrow. You know, counting 4 back, you got 1, 2, 3, 4. It's this level. So if we close above this level today, and I'll highlight it for you so you can see it a little bit better. You know, really we're testing right now, which is 68,824. You know, if we can close above that level for the day, the next following day that comes in will be inside of a bearish set of phase, which will point towards higher highs, but it still doesn't negate the fact that we would have a retest down to the downside. So then we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4. So you'd most likely see a push up, maybe into these levels, maybe even higher, but I'm just speculating here to say get a push up into these levels. Then you're probably gonna dance around here inside this area again. And this day, Saturday, is going to be important to close above this level. So Saturday for me would be like a no trade because there's too many different directions of where it can go. So I just wouldn't touch it on a Saturday. Then that leaves Sunday on the table, because if I get a breakdown here, then essentially that was going to be 5, this would be 6, then I'm going to be looking for 7. So then this thing's going to start pointing towards downside. I'm gonna take a little bit of profit off of that short. Right now, it's taking 25% off the table. Just on that small little dip. I'm just taking a little bit off. So in the event that I revisit, I have add backs. Not a huge profit, like $20 in profit. But every bit counts. Every bit counts. Awesome. Okay. It's quick and easy. We got some new people coming into the server. Awesome. New folks coming on in. Let's add them to the VIP. All right, that looks good. And let me go and do this for Jan real quick. Members. Jan. Oh, there you go. You don't have any of the roles. You need to look a couple more roles here. I'm gonna add Jan, if you're here, if you're listening, if you're on here, I added a couple roles for you, so that way you don't miss out on certain things. All right, that's taken care of. Yep, most profits came after just being patient. It can't be this easy for shorts though. Like, there's no way it's this easy. Like, we're short. I mean, if you guys shorted with me, I'm short. I'm still, let me better put that. I'm hedged. You know, I'm hedged with my short against my long, taking some profits off of my long already thus so far, and looking for add backs. But it just kind of speaking out there into the existence, it cannot be this easy for shorts right now. Can't be. maybe I'm wrong. Boy, oh boy. This thing just completely like flushes way beyond here. Massive fake out move. Massive fake out move. Like if it retraces this whole candle and beyond, yeah, massive fake out. So hopefully you guys took some profits on your longs. I certainly did on mine. I actually took mine a little bit earlier, not on this up thrust. I took it a little bit earlier, right around this level right over here when we got to this neckline. When we initially got to this neckline, I started taking some profits off of my long in that area. And then I had some add backs to my long here in this area, just small add backs. So my average isn't completely destroyed. But the hedge is what's going to help us on these moves down right now. Anybody take the short? Curious, did anybody take the short? There you go. It's a little bit of engagement for you guys. Put a quick little poll up there for you guys. Oh, you added to your short? That's what's up. Yo, Sniper, do you still... I'm curious. I'm pretty sure you do, but do you still have that 4,700 short on ETH? So this is kind of what I'm looking for right now. Not that level, but this level right here. I don't know if that's a wave A, right? I don't know. I would like to see, you know, a 789 so I can confirm if I have a wave A, but let's just make the assumption so you'll have an idea as far as what I'm going to do when that starts printing. I can get down to here. If I can get there. and then get you there. Then I'll look at that. Somebody would probably get round tripped because they'll have late entry. 618 maybe because there's support and it violated it. So I would say somewhere inside of this area. I'm making the assumption that wave A comes to here. Yep, came right to an order block. Now I wanted the bottom of that order block. No green dot printish yet. But now that, see how you're seeing these moves like these, like this. You know, this would be confirmation whether you hold your short or you get rid of it. For me, that's kind of like strip some profits off of that. That's why I took a little bit of profit. You can see that we have a change of character right over here. So a pullback to retest either this level, if not maybe a little bit higher. Let's move this up real quick. Let's move this back to where it was. And I'm gonna throw in a 0.5 real quick. Yeah, see that 0.5 puts me right in that area. So then that would say, that would be your wave A. That could be your wave B. Let's flip that over. Yeah, it won't go that deep, but maybe. What level do I have on here? What is this? 226 inside of that area. 2026. So that's right over here. That's right inside of this region, right over here. So 2.24 kind of makes sense. Maybe come down a little bit lower, reaching into that neckline. Okay. Let me see if I can get a pattern out of that. It's kind of aggressive. Interesting, I got a black swan that printed there. And TP's put me in the same relative, same space, same area right over here. 2010. Alright, bottom of that order block. Alright, let's play with that. Inside this little golden pocket right now, it should give me this. So see, I'm testing this change of character line right now. But what if we're wrong? We're on a lower time frame, right? We're on a lower time frame. You could always see that move squeeze a little bit higher. You know, the better data is on the higher time frames, but the move will happen first on the lower time frames. So if we are going to be moving down through those lower levels, you know, let's say 2012, 2027, or even if we get into the 1900s, it's going to begin here inside of this area. 4 hours still has plenty of time inside of that. I believe we have what, you know, a little bit over 2.5 hours left inside of that. That looks like a wave B to me. Yeah, that looks like a wave B. So let's go ahead and, now that we have that, that's a short wave C. That's a short one. That's where we get deep, which would put us right around where wave A is at. I could see that. I'm gonna look for a bigger pattern. Because patterns follow patterns. Only way I can look at this is saying, okay, where's my pivot? Yeah, that would be the only one that would make sense. So A, and then that's a B, and then the C, and then the D. Okay, that's one way of looking at it. Definitely not. I need to clean all this up. This is atrocious. Because what was the... Excuse me, what was the wave 3? Yeah, that's somewhere over there. That's a little bit too tight. And that would probably have to come down a little bit deeper and a little bit further out. Actually, that would probably become a little bit shorter. Yeah, I like these levels. I could see that. Because this is my 1.618 area. Yeah, I could see that. Mm-mm. What's up, boy? How you doing, brother? Yeah, yeah, you could have shorted there. I mean, I didn't add to mine. No, I didn't add to mine. Because in the event that this decides to push a little bit higher into higher fibs, you know, this, let me flip this over. We still have higher fibs. See, I can still get back into this order block, into this zone right over here. All I did is I took some profits off of the short when we got to this level right over here. I didn't add back to it or anything like that because I don't have confirmation that it's going to break down in that area. I'm going to look at volume and see. Even though volume is decreasing, but on the bullish side, it's showing some signs of weakness. I also got a green dot that just printed right over here, which is very faint. So I feel like there's going to be a squeeze that's still going to occur here in these areas. That's why I didn't add to that area. I'm speculating that this is going to be wave B for us, but wave B could always go higher. Wave B could always come into these levels right over here, right over here. Wave B can even be an expansion level right over here. You could always do that too. So it's a short-term play, really. But let's just assume here, you know, you got an order block that sits right over here. You know, we're gonna test this change of character. That's kind of where we're at right now, but usually you'll see a pullback. You know, retesting that change of character area, and then you'll get a decrease. If you did short in this area, then, you know, I would relatively keep, you know, a tighter stop loss, looking for a new entry that comes into this area. That's how I would handle it. Would it come to a wave B? It came real close to that wave B. And we came real close to that wave B. Actually, we tested that wave B. Look at that. We tested that wave B. Right there. I just caught that, just saw that. So breaking down from here, wave C, take some profits. Wave A, take some profits as well too. It's a black swan, it's a funky pattern. If you're inside of the server, there's ways that you can access them. If you go through the VIP access, you'll see that there's a post that's in there. There's mentorship, there's private mentorship that runs, it's a 3-month mentorship program. I have a couple students that are here inside the stream that I've taught over the years. They can allude to you know, how it works. If you don't want to do mentorship, you just kind of want the indicators, there's ways that you can get the indicators as well too. Just shoot me a DM and I'll walk you through it. If you're curious as to what they look like, if you go to my profile on TradingView, you can see all the indicators that I've built that'll be available to you. You'll have lifetime access with them if you choose to pick them up. There are tutorials that are associated with them. Those tutorials are posted inside the server. VIP individuals have access. So maybe, you know, you don't have the indicators, but you kind of want to have an idea as far as how they work, and you have VIP access. Well, you have access to that information. You can see how it works and kind of make a decision from there. If you're not in the server, it's pinned here inside of the chat. So just click on that link, follow the prompts, you know, get verified, and then go from there. Ah, coffee in the morning. Yeah, you guys are giving me the relatively the same areas, but you're giving me a thicker block over there. I know why, but it's because you got a fair value gap, so you got volume over there. That makes sense. Let's just go ahead and add this on. Yeah, that's what you're targeting that too. Okay. That would make the most sense. That would make the absolute most sense. Clear some of this. And I think we have an expansion level that comes down to those areas. Yeah, maybe I'm being a little too aggressive with that, but right over here, that would flush the entire level, which this is, I believe this is New York open low. Oh, excuse me, New York open high. That's a pretty aggressive wave 3 if we do get that. That would be concerning because then we could see a potential 1, 2, 3, 5 down. But I mean, if you're building, you see profits. I see we also got a fair value gap that sits right there too. So let's flip that back over. Let's go back to those levels that we were looking at just now. Yeah. Yep. Right over here. That would give it the fuel to come down lower. Uh, 0.76. I'll change that black because maybe it's not visible. Or actually, I'll just take some of this stuff off. If any of you guys are curious as to how I use these fibs, how I measure things out, what I look for, like all the measurements for all the fibs that I utilize, whether it be LA wave thesis, whether I'm trying to measure a wave C, whether I'm utilizing for harmonic patterns, all of those are posted inside of the training grounds. So everybody that has VIP access has access to the training grounds, and you can see that content that's there. Couple of that, there's a tons of books that are in there that you can review. I'll show you guys just so you have an idea. If I can find it myself, that'd be fantastic. Here we go. All of them are posted right inside here, inside this section. So price action strategy, fib levels, TD9 sequential, candle analysis, things of that nature. Still building out some of these areas for us. But this is all going to be written content that's inside here. And obviously if you enroll for like classes or in private mentorship, you have a little bit further breakdown for these. You can see all the lessons that are in here where I dive in a little bit deeper for you guys when it comes to those. And then we obviously have, our class schedules where we meet 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And we kind of put some ideas together and dive a little bit deeper. So if any of you are curious as to where that is, it kind of behooves you to be on VIP access inside of the server. It opens up the door for you to say, okay, well, I want to learn a little bit more. I don't have the capital to invest, or I'm not ready to invest, what have you. You still have all of that content that's in there for you. The premise of the server is to build traders, right? But serious traders, not just there for a signal farm. Like, do I short here? Do I long here? Of course, we're going to be given those. That's one of the added benefits. But at the end of the day, my sole purpose, my goal is to build other traders to where they can do this on their own. Help change your lives in that accord. Reverse a fib. If you just double click on it like this, and then you come down, there's a little box that says reverse. You just reverse it, and it'll reverse the 100 and the 0. So right now I'm measuring resistance, right? 618 is above my 0.5, so anything above here I'm measuring resistance. When I flip it back over the other way, then I'm measuring support. And these would be expansion levels. So all the way up to here, 2082 inside those areas. Still got a 4-hour real quick. Running kind of hot. I don't need you on the hours. Yeah, this was that wave B for the Black Swan. What did we see that on? That was on a 3-minute, right? 3-minute. Running a little warm here. Tapping right into that 50. I do that as 50, right? Okay, good. Just want to make sure. 4-hour tapping right into that 4-hour 50. Okay, so where's this stagnant area coming from? What is it tapping into here? The rule of thumb is, when you're using EMAs or just moving average, simple moving average, there's a difference between exponential moving averages and simple moving averages. It's something that I teach as well. But in short, there's more data on exponential moving averages. So the rule of thumb, when you start rejecting an EMA, that's an opportunity to get out of a position or even enter into position. There are stronger EMAs that sit above. We're on a 4-hour here. You have your 100 and you have your 200. So all of these can be bearish retests. All these can be bearish retests. And 200 EMA just so happens to sit, 2500 area, close to that 2600 area. So you might see a thrust into the zone and then it comes right back down. But right now, failing to, or at least fighting, not failing, better put, fighting with that 50 EMA, that's relatively pretty bearish. So it's an opportunity for you to start taking some profits off of your long and look for hedge opportunities. Run with your hedge opportunities with tight stop losses. I really don't like EMAs on lower time frames because they can give false signals. I really like using EMAs 4 hours, dailies, weeklies, and maybe even monthly. This short will fail 100%. That's fine. That's why we're long, buddy. Appreciate the words of confidence. We've been long, buddy. Yeah. And long from 1905 with an ad back already. So we have room to breathe. We can take shorts and they can get burned. We're still gonna be fine. So I'm confused. You say the short's gonna fail, but you can't believe anyone's gonna long. So what should people do there? I mean, it's alright if you miss entry, bro. You don't have to poo-poo on everyone else's party. Scared money don't make money. Scared money don't make money. Yeah, so now we're going to be testing that 0.76 area. Right, I told you before, when we get down to these levels, we start seeing these candles and start moving up. That's your opportunity to take profits. I'm hoping you guys took some profits on your shorts, at least if you entered here in this area. You'll have an opportunity for an ad back, or at least you'll break even. Where's my fib zone? Consolidation area. More realistic. Nah, bigger swings. Take a little while. What would that put us into? 245. So like 2 hours from now. And I'll put you right here. What is that? 2069.52. % of you guys did. That's what's up. See, I have no lead-off phase that's brewing here in this area. You know, the lead-off phase for the bullish count kind of ended inside this area. So all of this is just kind of expansion inside this zone, inside this area. Yes, we do have a bearish set of phase that's brewing here inside of this area. Let's go 4 back, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, getting back into these levels, it starts to change that set of phase. You don't have a lead-off phase on either side. You know, the lead-off phase didn't restart here inside this area. Lead-off phase will change. You'll see a new 1 that will print right over here. We break that high. What was on a 34-minute earlier? I got a nice hammer. Followed with a potential shooting star here in this area. Potential. Kind of needs to sit in this area. Let's move this over a little bit. running real hot. It was very hot. I got a 9 here. I got a 2 that printed, so yeah, a little reprieve, little reprieve. Welcome all the new people that are coming on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm glad that you guys are here. I'll be rocking with you guys to roughly around 1:30 or so. And then I'll be hopping into the server. I'll probably just finish streaming inside the server, you know, do something with you guys. Haven't been able to really utilize it as much as I wanted to between building us and the guys, like, you know, building the culture inside of the server. So I think I'll continue to stream inside the server, but I will be here till about 1:30. Thursdays and Fridays are a little bit shorter. Wednesdays I'm incorporating rest days, and then Mondays and Tuesdays are a lot longer. Still think it can get, I mean, because it just bounced off of that wave B. I think it gets it's a little bit higher over here. I'll probably see something like this because we're going into like a consolidation zone. So come up into here and just kind of play around inside this area. Maybe get to here, maybe even get to here, to be honest with you. And then this zone over here, you'll see bigger moves. If I'm wrong, then the bigger moves will be to the upside. But if we're going to see some type of short-term relief coming back down here in this area, it'll be inside this zone. The beauty of hedges. That's the beauty of hedges. It warrants the idea where you can be wrong. You can afford to be wrong. You can't leave me love, and don't leave to the night. Good rejection, decent, okay. Violated wave B. So now let's see if wave B was complete and we can go into wave C. Would not be longing any of these guys. Would not be longing at the top over here. I'm gonna wait for those lower levels. I want to see what occurs at, you know, 20, 26, 20, 20, 30, 34 inside of those areas. Let's flip this over again. Like these levels, I want to see what occurs here. If we can hold into these areas, then yeah, I'll look for add backs on my long. If we just sink and just completely violate these areas, this would be the area. This would be a short wave C, but nevertheless still a wave C. Remember, I was just saying just a moment ago, like right when we get into the zone, you know, it starts getting compressed. So it's going to be somewhere over here that we'll see the bigger move if we're going to move to the downside. Call me killer. And fib zones, you know, fib zones for me personally, fib zones work well when I'm trying to measure out harmonics, you know, looking for wave C's, looking for wave D's. The same thing for, you know, corrections, LA waves, what have you. That way I'm not just kind of crammed up and saying, okay, well, these are my distances as far as where price action can go to, but what level would it go to based on dates? And so this is where fib zones come into play. I do have something that's automated, but I also do it by hand as well too, in the event that I'm looking for something a little bit different. Let's just use this as an example. Yeah, I'm lining up my indicators, picking up these exact same zones. So I don't even need that. It's thinking the way that I'm thinking. You can go wider. I think I got to pivot from there. I like to measure from pivot to pivot. There's a pivot there. Okay. I see this is a little bit wider. So this is going to be wider. If you're measuring it that way, you wouldn't be incorrect. That's going to just be based on user discretion. All right, running flat. I got some volatility kicking in here in this area, which matches up with this zone right over here. So seeing that volatility inside this area. Where's Snapper? Snapper should be moderator on here. Nine printing on 89 minute. Good catch. And you got an 8 above. Good catch. Yeah, nice catch. Yeah, I have a feeling a red dot might print here, but that might be short-lived because look at that ADX. That might be short-lived. That's why it's kind of, I'm pointing towards saying, okay, these levels, these expansion levels, I keep saying expansion, it's extension. Proper word is extension. These levels right over here, you might get a short wave C. Which would, like I said, waves follow waves. Yeah, and then yeah, and yeah, something like that. If that pans out. Well, let's move this over a little bit. Let's scooch it over. That just gives us short term 2039 inside of that area. And then if that's the case, then I'll definitely look for a long on that, because I'm gonna go to expansions on those. Favorite fib. I'm gonna measure from X to A. Let's just turn that, I don't know, purple for right now. And let's go ahead and look at those expansions. $21.01. I don't know just yet, but I'm just giving you an idea. Still want to flirt with this.
Another day, eyes on my display. You say we need a change, and I feel that you mean it. You mean it. But you're so right, we're losing track of time.
Look at USDT real quick. Yeah, that is USDT sinks here. Boy, oh boy. They look like on daily. Man, give it to us. Please give it to us. Yeah, there you go. That's why ETH is floating around here in this area. Maybe USDT just pushes up that little bit. And an up thrust. So this kind of moving sideways makes a lot of sense, especially inside of these zones. That puts us into like 130, like literally right before I'm gonna get off here. Yeah, you got several different TP levels that I'm looking at. The short pans out. I'm looking at here, you know, that's extremely bullish. You know, we can bounce inside this area, then we can continue back up. This is still bullish. This is New York open high, New York open low right over here. And then I have some imbalances that sit inside of this area. So this would be like my more extreme area right over here. A lot of folks would get round tripped, especially if they're along like 1930s or anything like that. That's why I'm encouraging myself for you guys that I took profits here in this area, because in the event that I do come to these levels, I don't want to be round tripped. I'll look to see if I see signs of weakness in the sense of bearish weakness is brewing here in this area, then I'll look for a long back into it, and I'm going to be targeting these levels right over here, 2110, what have you. Because right now we're inside of a confirmation. This is the setup that we're looking at right now. Cool. We now have a breakout. Right, we tested that neckline. We now have a clear breakout. So if this breakout is real and this breakout is authentic, we would test this area at most, this neckline, and then we'll move back up. And so when we look at that 3-minute, that's what kind of puts us inside of those levels, right? 2034, maybe a little bit lower. Now, if it's going to squeeze, late longs coming into it and push down a little bit further, then these levels right over here, which are the New York open highs and New York open lows, that I would anticipate it for it to retest. Ooh. I think I need to increase the bit rate on here. It looks kind of fuzzy to me. Maybe the way I'm seeing it on my side. I don't want to do that midstream and then all of a sudden I start dropping frames. And we got like 30 minutes left. That's okay. USDT 1 hour. Yeah, let's check that out. Good catch, brother. We sure did. Sure did. And that's a weak wave. God dang it. I got a sub wave right there. So maybe I got a B, C, D, E. Oh man. Because it's a wave 4. Wave 4s are such a pain in the butt to trade. Get in there. Whatever, you guys know what I'm trying to do here. No. This would have to come deeper. Actually, no, it doesn't. I'm lying, it doesn't. That's your best case scenario. Yeah, I see that green dot. It's rejecting at 0.786, so maybe it comes back and tests this area right over here. Yeah, small little fair value gap right over here. I'm gonna scream if it goes to this level. 8.3. And clear that fair value gap over there. I just might just lose it. Might just start tweaking. I mean, we'll be positioned for it, which is I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But I want to see the relief. That's more what I'm aiming for. Yeah, we'll pick up here like at 1:30 or so. I'll grab a quick bite to eat and then I'll pop in with you guys. But I get mixed. Just being honest, I get mixed views. Like sometimes people don't have nitro, so they can't see in a high def. Can't see the charts. It's not as clear for them. Versus on YouTube, it's a little bit more clear for them. So, just depends on what you're doing. Your soul, heroes the night. Yeah. Yep. I'm in perfect line with you, Sniper. This is exactly what I'm thinking. Give us that little, push up for USDT, which gives us our push down for ETH. And then we can see continuation. What is River doing? We shorted River yesterday. Yeah. Come on down, River. I moved my stop loss to break even. I've stripped a good amount of that already out. But we shorted 24 yesterday. I did have higher targets, don't get me wrong. I wanted to see Wave B do something ridiculous like that. But I was remeasuring, looking at like a super bearish area. 0.382 was that level. We got some sell dots that are printing. This is on a 4-hour, of course. And so I need to make some adjustments to this because that was Wave A. And let's just call this Wave B. Why is that so thick? Jeez. Flip this over. Am I lined up right? Yeah, I think I'm lined up right there. I think we get into this area right over here. I gotta redo my harmonic for this. I think that's what we'll see. I'd definitely be looking along that. We don't know yet. Bounce level for BTC. It needs to hold on to this area right over here. If you're looking at a daily, this is kind of what I was just reiterating. I'll post this inside the chat for you. This is what's going into next week. This is what you really need to maintain. I'll put a little note for you here. There you go, so you can't miss it. You'll probably see a dip that comes down over here. So those are going to be buying opportunities, in my opinion. You start seeing those dips, those are going to be buying opportunities. I don't know where that dip is going to go to. So if I go 4 back, 1, 2, 3, 4, no, that's a no-go. So really it's going to be Sunday, Monday. So probably Tuesday is going to be the day that you'll get a little bit of a dip. And then that's going to be where you look to re-long that area. I'll put this inside the server just so it's there for you for good measure. There you go. That's for BTC. I just posted inside there for you. My fib zone just changed on me. It just changed on me. That's one thing that's kind of pissed me off. Yeah, he just changed on me. So you're giving me a wider consolidation. Count 4 back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you're gonna come and test this area. I'm gonna take the fib zone off real quick, just so the lines don't mess us up. They'd already tested. Yeah, it's trying to change the setup phase there. It's 111. Oh, you're welcome. Excuse me. Excuse me. Oh, look at that. Kind of puts us right in that same area. What if I see this on a 13-minute? I'll probably see a little bit lower. Eeh. Yeah, there's a good amount to the upside. That's really what I want to see get act. Maybe we come and touch some of this right over here. Oi! Oi! Oh my. Gotta make someone cry. That'll make someone cry. Why is ETH retracing all back to my entry? I hate this thing. It's a Ponzi scheme. Yeah, maybe so. You can still make some money on that way. You can still learn a lot. You can take whatever you learn in here and go into something that's a little bit more stable, like stocks, bonds, things of that nature. You can go into Forex. Crypto just moves faster. That's all. It just moves faster. Dun 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 dun. Oh, green dots are flashing here on these lower, at least 3 minutes. Yeah, they're gonna try to squeeze, aren't they? We got some red dots that are printing there. Let's go to a 21 real quick. Yeah, I got a red dot that happened up here. And you're running red hot too, and you got your ADX starting to collapse here on a 21 minute. Yeah, let's navigate this. 21 minute, because we all know what ETH is notorious for. And if you're not up to speed, ETH does this and then does that. It is notorious for retracing its pumps, at least for the last what, 2 years now, 3 years now. You can see that on higher time frames. It just retraces all of its pumps. Yeah, let's go with 21 minute here and see what we can get off of that, because that DI negative is relatively laying flat, so it's going to pick up some momentum. The ADX is losing strength, so we have some signs of weakness over here. Let's look at volume real quick. Yeah, look at that. Do. Massive on here. And then obviously as we started getting into these areas, it was just squeezing with losing volume. Went higher, but volume was going lower and lower. Not what you're looking for if you're bullish. You know, we'll operate from a 21 minute here for the next couple minutes. What does EMA look like? I really don't like it here. I don't know if I lagged out there for a second or not. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Oh yeah, I'm starting to lag. I can see it. That's okay. Got good timing. One hour on ETH printed a red dot. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, that bodes well with the 21. Yeah, that looks good. Good catches, guys. Good catches. I love to see that, man. I love to see that you guys are, you know, applying what you learn in real time. Remember, we have a giveaway going out on Sunday. At least the giveaway ends and concludes on Sunday. It is for the server. You know, if you have the Citadel tag applied to your name, make sure that you check out the announcement section. Make sure that you are clicking on the little present box emoji that's there. That's going to put you into the entry, and then it's going to be random as far as, you know, whoever the winner is. I'm actually just going to run it through Grok. I'll post all the names that are in there, or I'll take a screenshot of all the names that are in there that have entered, and then just let Grok pick. And then I'll post those results inside of that. I'll reply to that so that way you guys can see who the winner was chosen. It's a good opportunity for you guys to, you know, put a little bit of ducats in your pocket going into next week. Maybe you need it, maybe you don't. It's just our way, small way of always giving back to our community. That's really what I want to focus on. Giving back. I mean, a lot of us have been part of different servers or are still part of different servers, and they do provide tons of value. But we also know that it also comes with some scrutiny or name calling or some drama or what have you. So if you guys are digging the server so far, you guys can see that more of a peaceful crowd, more of a building group altogether. With that said, I do want to send you guys off here in the appropriate way. We will pick up here on the Discord server. I'll be in there in a couple minutes. I'm going to grab a quick bite to eat. But I do want to send you guys off the right way, the proper way, making sure that someone is praying over you, guiding you. Not just me, I'm just a vessel, guys. That's all I am. And he puts these thoughts of praying over others on my heart. And so I don't know if this word will impact you, but if it does, it is for you, as the Lord is for you. Father God, thank you for this week. Thank you for every setup, every decision, every moment where our patience was tested. We're grateful that the moves we built yesterday matured into profit today. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, God. And we acknowledge this is because of you, not just our skill. Your word says, and let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart. Thank you for letting us see that due season this week, not just in the charts, but in our discipline and growth. Lord, as we head into the weekend, keep us humble. Even with no losses this week, keep us grounded, not greedy. Keep us focused on you, not just on what we made. Lord, I ask that you protect everyone in this community and every family that they represent. Cover our homes, our health, our minds, and our finances. Help us to get rest well this weekend, to unplug, reset, and remember that our life is bigger than trading. Let this week be a reminder that patience has value, discipline pays, and you honor good stewardship. We give you the glory for every green day and every wise decision and every avoided mistake. Bring us back next week sharper, calmer, and even more aligned with you. I pray all this in Jesus' name. And everybody said, Amen. If you're new to the streams, welcome. Glad that you're here. This is pretty much how we do it every single week. Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. There's going to be live setups for you guys. Inside of our server is where we really kind of dive into it in real time, chatting with different ideas. There's a slew of new traders that are in there with perfect setups. So I'm very proud that the individuals that have taken part inside of our community. So there are more than one trader that you can kind of pick their mind, pick their brain as to how they came up with those setups, what their thought process was behind that. So it's added benefit to you. Inside of the server, there are plenty of tools that you have access to, from educational content to even streams that we're going to continue inside the server here after this one. So it behooves you to be part of that, especially if you want to be around like minds, you want to be around a culture that helps builds you up and doesn't sit there and say that you're wrong or put you in a position where you feel apprehensive to share your ideas and share your thoughts. Even if your chart is messy, even if you're a brand new green trader or intermediate, like, this is going to be the culture area where you can really build your foundation. And so I personally believe in that. The people that we've built the community with, they have the same mindset. So it's ultimately going to be a safe space for you. Again, if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe, set your notifications. You'll know when I'll be hopping on here live. We are doing a $1,000 giveaway once this channel, YouTube channel, reaches 1,000 subscribers. So the sooner you subscribe, the sooner you'll be entered into the drawing for that. Outside of that, I've had an amazing week with you guys. As I just prayed over you, patience was really, really tested, but those patience pay out in the end. And I hope that was a lesson for a lot of you guys. If you had some losses behind that, don't view it as you're a bad trader or, this is just not for you. You got to look at these as lessons at the end of the day, and then jot down inside of your journal what went wrong, whether it was mentality wise or from a technical perspective. If you don't have a journal inside of our server, there's a free journal section where you can post all your ideas if you want other people to review them. I've also provided a template for you guys in the event that you want to use something that's offline, where you can measure your return on investments, you can measure what your winning trades are, all that. It's kind of like an Excel spreadsheet on steroids, for lack of better terminology. So it's 100% free to you. There's nothing you have to buy or subscribe to utilize it. It's all posted inside of the journal section. Other than that, please be safe going into the weekend. I hope you guys do have a very restful weekend and peaceful weekend at that. I love you guys, and above all, God bless you. I'll catch you next week.